This actually makes me feel better. I put down mistakes, typos, bloopers,
Ooh.
outtakes.
Then I don't have to worry at all about people thinking I'm AI. Oh gosh.
Welcome to Wish I'd Known Then podcast. I'm Sarah Rosette.
And I'm Jamie Albright. And this week on the show, we have us.
Ta-da! We're doing jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
We're being human today. That's what we're talking about.
We should have done the video for this one because just to prove.
Oh, we will have video for this one, but I think that this is the one that you say in the episode. If only I looked better, you could see us because you didn't put on your makeup and do your hair that day. But I could put the intro video up there. So yeah, we're talking about how to be human in a world with AI. So that's coming up. And this week we have Reedsy as our sponsor. So we'll talk about them more in a minute. But what have you got going on this week or anything going on?
Lord, I got nothing going on but writing. Trying to finish today. What is today? Wednesday? I am trying to be done by Friday. I'm not sure that's going to work. I thought that I actually probably... I might be able to. I do know that I have to write 2 chapters, but I know what they are, and it's figuring out where they're going to go. But I am very close to the end of these revisions, and they're my final revisions before the editor. And I just touched base with my editor yesterday. Hey, are we still on? She said, yes. Actually, I may very well be available at the beginning of that week. And I was like, I think I can be too. I mean, she will fall out dead if like literally just I hope there's a resuscitation
device near her
when she gets it, if she gets it before the due date or even on the due date, because I don't think I've ever hit a deadline with her. So it'll go to her. And
nice.
See, I fully expect that there'll be some things that will need to be taken care of, because honestly, at this point, I'm just a little too close to see I can't see the forest for the trees. And some things that I think may need to be woven in, but I don't know if, again, forest for the trees. I can't tell. So I'm not going to spend my time doing that right now. If she points it out, then I'll go back and do it. I may still do it and then just get her to look at it one more time. Yeah, I can't believe it.
It's a huge milestone.
It's huge. I mean, it is a victory, a victory, and I'm taking a victory lap, regardless of how it does. Of course, I want it to do well. I want all the things for this book, but
just getting to this point is such a huge thing for you, right?
I revised 5 chapters yesterday, and I cried through all of it, like literally cried through all of it, to the point where they gave me a free Starbucks. They made me a free drink yesterday. So on days like that, when I get so much done and it's so hard, I can't believe I've done this. I cannot believe I've done this. And how did I do it? Like, how have I sat with this so long in this way and continued on? Like, I'm shocked that I haven't given it up.
Yeah, and your books, just your normal books, this is a special book for you, but just your regular books are deeply emotional. And this one, even more so. So it is just a huge accomplishment.
And, and our friend Claire Taylor told me yesterday, she said, I'm proud of you. And I was like, today I'm proud of me too. And I think it's okay for me to say that. And, and so, I just feel really good about it. I feel good about the fact that I've finished this book. There are parts of this book that I think are really, really great. There are parts of this book I'm like, I don't know how great that is, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I have worked really hard. I have tried to honor my family and my sister most of all, and I've tried to be as honest as I can be, and sometimes you have to bleed to feel alive. So there it is. I have a book club next week. There's some things I need to be doing for that, but really just working on this. This is my priority. So, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm so happy. So
Thank
happy
you.
for you.
Thank you. So what about you?
I also was crying, but not in the same way. I was just crying because the book was going so slowly this week. Oh, yeah. I'm getting there though. I figured out how to progress.
Yes.
And I'm at that midpoint, between one act and another. And I've got to sort it out in my brain before I go on. Some people would just press ahead and keep going. And I can't do that. I have to mull it over and figure it out in my brain first.
Yeah.
So I think I'm about to get there. And I have done some writing this week, but I've also done a couple of podcasts for the Trope book. And that's a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
You can totally leave the manuscript behind and go talk about other creative things.
Something you've accomplished. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And talk about, tropes and mysteries and thrillers and how to use tropes in that. So I'll mention those. They're not out yet, but I'll mention those episodes when they come out.
Yeah.
But so that's a lot of fun.
I will say that today was they gave me another free drink today, but I think that was just because they're trying new drinks. But yesterday it was definitely because I was crying. But I was crying this morning too but also I was giggling, like I was making myself laugh. That's the best feeling when you read something you've read and you just giggle. I love that feeling. It's that there's nothing like it. There is nothing like it. Cracking yourself up. I was thinking yesterday that, that graphic that's like your author career, and it's like a little bit of a straight line up, and then it's this big
like a
squiggle.
Jumbled
yeah, exactly.
Scribble.
That's not just like your career. That's like with each book.
Yes.
There are parts of writing that I hate. And then there are other parts that I love, and I am in the I love part because it's mostly done. And but also it's just that kind of minutia, and I really love that part of it. Like taking a sentence or a phrase and going, that doesn't really fit here, but if I move it down here, my gosh, that has a huge impact. Like it changes everything. And it's something I've already written. And that's the cool part of writing to me. So,
I feel like a lot of revision is fine tuning where certain inner monologue goes, and that can really impact things. And
yeah, exactly.
Thanks to all our regular supporters that support us every week. We really appreciate y'all. If you've gotten value from the podcast and would like to share back with us, you could support the podcast. The link will be in the show notes, wishidknownforwriters.com/support. And thanks to, I want to give a shout out to our longtime supporter, Parker Finch. She was recently on, and she's been supporting podcasts for 3 years. So thank you for that. And thank you to everybody who's posted a review or shared the podcast or a rating and given us support that way too. We really appreciate that too.
We do. And now we want to talk about Reedsy Studio, because y'all, it is so cool. And I mean, like you can set writing goals, you can track your writing goals, and you can work on multiple projects at once with Reedsy Studio. You can work on chapter outlines, like separate from the manuscript. You can have a different tab for that. And they have the free program, but they also have a premium program. And in the premium program, you can do even more of that. And that's what's cool. Like I like a visual. I want to see. Like I have a regular old calendar with
the squares.
Yeah, squares. And I've written, this is when this needs to happen. This needs to happen. But if you have something like that on the computer that you can set up, and it's so pretty too. Like it's modern looking. Yeah. So anyway.
Very good. What is that called? User interface design or something like that. It's nicely done.
Yeah, it's really nice. So Reedsy Studio, you guys check it out. It's really a fantastic tool. And I was telling Sarah, we were watching, well, I wasn't, Chris, my husband was watching World Championship, World Series or something. It's all the different countries playing baseball.
Okay, there you go.
And there was an advertisement for Reedsy, and Ricardo's face came up, and I was like,
I know him.
Yeah, we know them. They're just good people, and this is a great product. So check it out.
Yes. So that link will be in the show note, reedsy.com/studio. And then they also have templates to go along with that. And you can find all of those at Reedsy, and they have lots of other stuff too. We won't talk about
tons,
everything, but
tons.
they
I
have
mean, they're
lots
just,
of things to help
yeah,
authors.
yeah, they do.
They're a good company. All right. Well, should we get on with the podcast? This is
let's do
just
it.
Jamie and I talking about how to show you're human in an AI world, because really that's what we're facing now. There's a lot of AI content and there's only going to be more. And so we just talk about it. We talk about fear around it, the power of in-person connections, and hopefully it gives you some ideas for ways that you can show you're human. And we would love to hear from you. There will be comments open on this episode in Substack. So let us know if you have some extra ideas. And also, I should say, I did the giveaway last time for the trope book. I have physical copies of the trope books. Notifications for that have gone out. So check your notifications and email on Substack and let me know where to mail the book.
I forgot one thing. I'm doing the branding workshop one more time. Well, I don't know if it's one more time, but I'm going to do it again on April the 11th at 2 p.m. That's a Saturday, I believe. It went so well last time, and I didn't turn around immediately and do another one because of the book, because almost done and sending it off April 11th feels like a good time to do it. So if you're interested, you can go to Jamie Albright /author workshops, and then there is a place there to register.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's get on with the episode.
Absolutely.
We are talking about how to show you're human in this age of artificial intelligence and all these things that are synthetic.
Yeah.
We want to talk about humanity and leaning into your humanity. Joanna Penn has been talking about this for years.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're finally at a point where I'm beginning to understand ways that you can actually do this, because I would hear that and I would think, that's great, but how do you do this? I want some specific examples. So we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to start off just talking about why it's important, just as a jumping off point.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on why we want to show that we're human?
First of all, I think we needed to be doing this all along. If you haven't been
that
showing,
is true.
if you haven't been like being, I'm not saying you have to be like transparent with your entire life, with your audience, but there needs to be an element of you sharing with your audience things that are true about you. Even if it's not personal, they're true about you. Or for some authors, and if you don't do this and you have trouble like feeling like you don't want to share personal details, one of the things you can do is create like this persona of yourself, like a better self, a more outgoing self, a different.
It's your public facing persona.
But it's your public facing, but it's you. And then under that umbrella are the things you can share. But yeah, so we should have been doing this all along. I just think it's now in particular, it's so important to do that. And I don't think that you can go wrong, honestly, with just sharing more of whatever it is, within the parameters of what you decided is comfortable for you, sharing more of yourself that way.
So I think about this the way I think about the feelings and relationships I have towards the industry professionals that we deal with. If I have met them at a conference, if they have a podcast I can listen to, I feel differently about that company. If somebody is talking about a company and they're like, oh, this is a great thing, it's brand new. Now I think, are they going to conferences? Have I met them? Do they have a podcast? Do they share on social media where I can see the actual person? I listen to that Buzzsprout podcast called Buzzcast. It's a podcast about podcasting, and it's got 3 people from their company, and I feel like I know them. I know a little bit about them and about their philosophy because I listen to it, and that's what we want to create. We want the people that read our books to know us and feel close to us. I don't know how to describe it. How do you want them to feel there's a connection there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'll just be honest. There have been times, you've heard something about a certain author or company or person, just some scuttlebutt, let's say, in the industry. And then you go to a conference and you meet that person in person, face to face. And you're like, wait, that's not true. I'm not getting that vibe at all. And you just form deeper connections when you are when you have a person, you feel like you have some sort of personal connection with somebody. It's true. I mean, that's parasocial relationships too. They're a little weird sometimes, but I just remember the first time we met Joanna Penn, I hadn't even published yet. We had just been listening to her, and I just felt like I knew her, and I just adopted her. She didn't have a choice. She didn't have a choice but to hang out with me because I was right there.
It's true. All of this can have a dark side, like the
Mhm.
parasocial
Yeah,
relationship.
sure,
It can
sure.
go too far and everything,
Mhm.
but that is the way you make readers who will follow you across
Mhm.
genres and who will trust you. And if you say, hey, I'm writing this new thing, or this book is sort of like my old books, but there's one thing that's different, a
Mhm.
lot of them will say, okay, let me give it a try because
Mhm.
they like you as a person and they like
Yeah.
what you do and they want to support you. And
Right.
that's why people will support Patreons for
Mhm.
authors and support the podcast,
yeah.
things like
Mhm.
that. Yeah. So I think authenticity is rare. And
Mhm.
that's one thing that will help you stand out in this
Mhm.
world when there's going to be so much content. That's
Right.
what everyone is afraid of.
And here's the deal, like authenticity can be formulaic. It can be like, that's what I'm saying. Like for me, authenticity is not hard. I mean, as far it, and in fact, it's too much. Frankly, people are like, stop sharing. But you can't. It can be prescriptive as long as you. It's again within those parameters of what you've decided is okay to share with people. It's because I think a lot of maybe introverts, but maybe not even introverts, because I know a lot of introverts that are incredibly, I mean, they hate small talk. They love that. They love
The deeper connection.
deeper connection. They may be better at it than extroverts, frankly. But I think a lot of people will look at someone who is more extroverted or appears to be more extroverted and say, "Oh, I can't do that." So they don't do anything. But we have to begin to make efforts to share parts of ourselves with our audience, because if you are afraid of the AI thing, I think that this is one way to counteract that.
Mm-hmm. And so, speaking of fear, I'm quite the expert in fear. I'm very good at fear. So, I figured I would share this thing that I ran across the other day. I was talking with my kids and my husband. We were talking about AI and the fear around AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? There have been so many tech disruptions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go see if this has happened before, if this reaction has happened before. And it has been because things go in cycles. I asked Perplexity what fears were around previous technologies. I'm just going to read through some of them because I think they're interesting and funny. The printing press, scribes petitioned to ban it in 1474, fearing job loss. So that sounds a little familiar. While church officials worried about uncontrolled information spread.
Oh, yeah.
That could be dangerous, right? Trains in 1852, people believed high speeds up to 30 kilometers per hour would cause insanity. Electricity, 19th century public panicked over electrocutions from wires, viewing it as deadly and linked to evil forces. The telephone, the elderly feared electric shocks. Critics said it promoted gossip. Some of these are very true. When you look at them now, you go, oh, yeah, that was a legitimate fear. Automobiles in the early 1900s, people threw stones at cars. Laws called for red flag walkers who had to go in front of the cars. I read about this when I was researching, and wave a flag to warn people that the car was coming, which kind of defeats the purpose of a car because it would have to go really slow. Let's see, the mechanical loom. In the early 1800s, people destroyed looms, fearing massive job displacement.
Yeah, they did. It was a big uprising, yeah.
And then radio, people were afraid of invasion of privacy. And also that I read another article that said they were afraid that people needed repose and rest in this constant barrage of noise and information was too much, and it would hurt children and their growth. In the light bulb, fears were around sleep disruption, fires, and unnatural light cycles, which some of that is true. Some of that we struggle with.
All the radio thing, I mean, it's not radio now; it's social media or the internet. But
I did run across the IT industry specific cycle, and it was Wild West, early adoption, experimentation, Armageddon, fears, job loss, obsolescence, negative society impact, and then widespread adoption and integration. So I would say there is a lot to be afraid of with all these changes we're going through. This is a cycle that our societies go through over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's like you were saying earlier, the thing with this is it's fast.
It's fast. It's happening faster than some of these other things happen. There was time, like we knew some of these things were coming and we had time to prepare. We've known this was coming, but it's so beyond our comprehension as to what these machines can do that we have not caught up. Society has not caught up intellectually with what the AIs can do. I think that's a good thing and a bad thing, honestly, because I think it's a bad thing because that creates the fear because we don't understand everything they can and can't do. But the good thing is because we have not caught up, it's going to naturally slow down some of the progression of what can be used because we as a society, as humans, the majority of us will not have the capability to program these things. And a lot of them, while they are coding and doing their own thing, I think they still need, for a while, human intervention and instruction and at least oversight. That's what I think.
Yeah, well,
actually, that's what my son-in-law thinks, and so I defer to him because he's in an AI club. Nerd.
Well,
but yeah,
we need the nerds. We need the nerds to interpret all this for us. Yeah, with every disruption, jobs are lost, but jobs are also created. We have a friend that his job was Xerox copy repairman. And because offices stopped using those as much, he lost his job. But he retrained and just doing something else. So it causes things will change. We're not saying they won't change, but things will change.
They're already changing. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I just thought that would be a good time to talk about that with the changes and the fears that we have.
Claire Taylor wrote an interesting article about this, but especially since I read it, I've kind of stopped saying this, but the whole, it's inevitable, it's coming. I try not to say that, but I do think the people that will fare the best are the ones who get on the kind of learning instruction side of it rather than just the being drug along by it. And that's, for what it's worth, that's my 2 cents.
Knowledge is power, and knowledge is peace of mind a lot of times, because there have been certain things that I've gone through, like with my health, that when you don't know, you spiral. Or I do. But then once I got the diagnosis, the answer, I was like, okay, this is what is going on. And so sometimes just knowing and understanding it takes away a lot of the fear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to run through a list of things that we jotted down on ways to show you're human. And
so I asked AI how to be human. I really did. Well, it was early. I wasn't feeling very human. Yeah.
What happened with this for me was a long time ago, Joanna Penn, the creative Penn, mentioned lean into your humanity and ride this wave of technology. And I would think, but how do you do that? And so I started noticing anytime people would talk about things, I think, oh, that they're showing they're human. And so I've been keeping a mental list of things. And so I jotted some of these things down, and I'm sure we'll come up with more of these. The caveat with all this is that even though we're saying do these things to show you're human, someone could use AI to do these same things. One way is to show your face, put your image on your Amazon profile and your website.
Right.
And anybody can generate an AI image now and do that. So it's just one way. And so probably all these things together are better than a single thing. But that caveat on all this. So the first thing I put down was interact in the real world. This is the 100% guaranteed way to show that you're human is you do an event, you do a book signing, you go somewhere in person, you go to conferences, things like that. And that is, everything else can be replicated with the video technology now and audio technology. Anything can be created. But if you go to a book signing and sign a book and give somebody a bookmark, Pretty sure you're human, at least right now.
That's right. You win. That's the one. That's true.
Yeah. And then the other thing, this actually makes me feel better. I put down mistakes, typos, bloopers, outtakes.
And I don't have to worry at all about people thinking I'm AI. Oh, gosh. Or that I use AI. Yeah.
Yeah. This one, I had a reader email me one time about a typo, and I replied back and thanked her and said, sorry about that. And a few always slip through, and no matter how hard I try to find them. And she replied back and she said, oh, that's fine. Typos show that you're human, and I like them.
No, there you go.
That was a very nice thing to say, I thought, too.
Yes. Yeah.
On her part.
Exactly. Yeah, and physical things was what you were talking about. Bookmarks made with manuscript draft corrections. I don't know about that because
I was thinking, I was trying to think, how could you?
For me personally,
because I used to print out my manuscript and scribble all over it, and I don't do that as much now. But if you do that, you could take those pages and cut them up and laminate them and give them away, or you could take your manuscript pages and sign them and give them out, things like that. I was trying to think of ways that you could take your make something physical from your work.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, another thing that I thought of with this was when we interviewed Ember May, and she talked about the teacups she received from, I think it was a relative who had these teacups. I think she got 6 of them, and she packaged them up and gave them away as early bonus for Kickstarter backers. And I thought that was a great idea because she didn't do it for everyone. It's a limited thing, but it's a physical thing that they're receiving that has meaning to her, and that they were beautiful, and they'd probably display them.
Yeah, I agree. So you said special editions here. What were you talking about?
I don't think many people who are creating lots of AI content are going to be creating special editions. I think that's a way you can set yourself apart and say, maybe your special edition has things that are unique, like it's signed, but just the fact that you're taking the time to create a special edition puts you in a different category in readers' minds, I think.
Yeah, so I think you're right. If you can't do a physical sign, like an online sort of thing, I mean, except for the fact that I look like crud this morning, we could put this podcast on YouTube and people would see our faces and see us. And at this point, I think AI is still not good enough to replicate that. It's pretty obvious when something, or I think it's pretty obvious.
We can tell because we're
so far, So we can, my mother, she cannot. A baby rapping a song. Can you believe that child? Mom.
Well, let's have a chat.
Oh my gosh. And I do think that is one of the dangers because we are uniquely situated.
We're seeing a lot of this.
We're seeing so much of it
early.
Yes. And I forget the general public just either isn't or they don't understand, they don't care, or what all they can see is they've heard the propaganda of, oh, this could be so great for you, and they're like, oh, this is so great. In fact, I was at Starbucks and I was talking to this guy next to me he comes a lot. I'm a regular and he comes a lot, and we were talking, and when he found out what I do, he was like, oh, I guess you're really happy about AI because that can really help you with all your stuff. And I was like, no.
Did you say, how much time have you got?
Yeah, we're not really happy about that as much as you would think. And when I was telling him some things, he was shocked because he just thought that would be so great for authors. And I was like, actually, not as much as you would think.
We are at the forefront of this, even though we don't feel like it. I think we know a lot that's going on.
Yeah. Short of being programmers or in that world, coders, I think we know more than the average Joe.
Yeah. All right. So the next one, show your work, share your writing and revision process. And I think you are much better at this than I am. You do, because you do share like how the book's going.
Yeah.
And I have a tendency just to go off in my cave and say, I'm working on a book, but that's usually all I share.
I remember, oh gosh, this is back like 2017, 2018. It was like right when I started maybe a year after I started, because I didn't really know. Like when we started, we knew the people that we had met at conferences, and in my mind, like romance was split into these two
The
categories.
two camps.
Yeah, the two camps. There was this marketing, like where you came into it knowing you had to market your book and advertising and stuff. And fortunately, we both were in that camp. Then there was this other side of romance that was book signings, really intense reader engagement, great stuff, but just different. They didn't use ads. That wasn't really on their radar, but they did a lot of reader stuff. And I remember Colleen Hoover used to do this live stream where she would just sit and write with her camera on, music playing. She'd just be writing, she'd be singing. You could tell some of the time she had forgotten the camera was on because she was just doing, and that would go on for an hour or more. And she'd just sit there and write, and she might go stop writing and look at the camera and say something, and then go back to writing. And I always thought, wow, that's incredible, because her readers would just sit there and watch her. They were really tuned into it, and things like that are, I don't know if I want anybody watching me write. I think that'd be pretty boring. But plus I talk to myself, so that would be really bad.
Well, that would make it entertaining.
Well, I guess it would. And I make faces when you're...
I'm always I'll go, wait, how would they have held I have to act things out sometimes. But that's 5 seconds of 2 hours.
But I do think there's ways to show your work. I think there are a lot. I feel like romance writers are really good at this. They just let their readers know what they're doing, things that are coming in the book, fun things they've written this week, sort of.
Yeah, I do talk about what I researched this week. Sometimes I'll do that. And another way to do this would be to people who are doing subscriptions and they're sharing, they're posting every week. This is my draft. And then later on, most people who do that, they will bring out the finished book later on. But you're essentially showing your drafts as you're going.
And having one of the things that in my research, I'm using air quotes, is having strong opinions about things and sharing those opinions. Like if you're that person, if controversy gives you life,
is your jam,
then share it. Like that is a way for people to understand that you're human and to connect with you on a level, because AI doesn't really, it's pretty sanitary still. We all know it's getting a lot better in that it can mimic and replicate, but it's never gonna, I'm not gonna say never. It at this point is not human-like enough.
Well, okay, so this is controversial, but I will say this. Here we go. Hot take. I'm a Christian, and I believe that people are made in the image of God, and we have a soul, and that's something that AI will never have. Even though it can replicate it and give you a shadow of it, it's not going to have that core that sets us apart. And so I think that's one reason I'm not quite as afraid of it as maybe I should be, or maybe other people are. But yeah, I think we have to lean into the things that we enjoy and that are unique. That's what makes us a little bit different. And if you like controversial opinions, or you like I would put down quirky things. There are certain authors that I think, like Gail Carringer, she likes octopus things. Her readers send her clips of octopus and little images of them. And Lindsay Broker does dragons, and I like vintage things. I'm all into old stuff. In my writing. And I love vintage office equipment and stuff because it works and it lasts. And if you can show those little quirky things about yourself, that can draw people to you.
And even in your writing, one of the things you could, like, just using unique metaphors and weird comparisons. I do this a lot. I've never met a simile that I didn't love and want to overuse. And actually, there have been, when I've asked AI, does this grammar looks weird? Mostly my stuff is grammar that I'm like, I don't know. But it will come back and say, but you've used a lot of simile. Or this simile doesn't work. I think it was I can't remember. Oh, it was like a noxious cloud. I had used it. And they were like, clouds, it was a noxious cloud came over me or settled over me or something like that. And it was like, clouds don't settle, they move and drift. And I was like, shut up.
STET.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hell was insinuated. Shut the hell up. But I just feel like the more we can basically use our human brains and experiences that are unique to us, like I would say my writing is very unique to me, and sometimes that's very limiting, and I recognize that it limits the things I can write about. I would love to write some sweeping travel or deeply intellectual things, but that's not my experience. So because of that, I think that it does give me a unique perspective, and then I lean into that unique perspective. And I think that's important as we're trying to be human.
So this other one isn't, I don't know actually how you would use this. Maybe you've got an idea, but longevity in online accounts is another way to show that you're human. And I didn't think about that until I saw somebody say, yeah, my X or LinkedIn or Facebook history goes back to 2017 or 2010 or whatever. That would be a way, I guess, you could reshare older content to show that, or you could just, hey, mention I've been around for 20 years on this site and blah, blah. I don't know how that will go over.
Yeah, I think bringing back old content is a good idea. That I actually, when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, that is really good. And actually, some of my TikTok reels, I've been reusing some of them. A lot of them, I was 50 pounds heavier.
Oh, and
so when my face looks different. I had a real round face, didn't realize that. But that definitely signals that I'm human. Also, like as far as social media goes, it's showing your face and stuff, going on imperfect, like going on
that's that authenticity thing.
With your hat. Yeah. Just those sorts of things make you seem more authentic and more relatable and more human, as we're talking about. And also not having such curated social media where everything's so perfect. Like last night, we were at the rodeo and made a video about, so this is one thing, and girls, if you're listening, listen up. The biggest thing I've ever told my girls, and if you ask them, in fact, Alexa said, when you started that video, I turned to the friend that I with and said, she's about to say this. If you meet a man wearing a hat, before you decide to really invest or go out with him again or whatever, go out with him, be sure to see him without the hat, because you can get hat fished real fast.
But why? Why is that important? For people who are going, what?
Because they look a man looks good in a hat. And sometimes they don't look so good when the hat comes off. And that's bitten me in the behind more than once. But anyway, all that to say, that was my advice on the video. But it was a terrible video. Like you could hear the announcers in the background, people talking and everything. But that also lends to authenticity. That was really me making that video, because if I had been AI, I would have cleaned that up and made sure that my voice was the only thing you heard. So things like that, like a video that is not really perfect is a great way to show that you're a real person.
Yeah. And I even do that when I edit the podcast. I don't take out all of the pauses and the ums and the things that when we're straining to think of a word or something, because sometimes you need that pause for the emphasis. And I think that's interesting. That sometimes the messier it is, the more realistic it is. Like the podcast I did when we were at Author Nation and I walked around just and recorded people. I actually liked the way it turned out, because you could hear the background noise. Technically, people would say, oh, take that out because it's distracting. But it's just, it gave you the feeling of being there.
It's ambiance. Yes.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Something that AI said, oh my gosh, was like signature style. And one of the things that is like rhythm of sentences when you write. And I think authors need to be real careful about this when they're asking AI to clean stuff up, or to if you're going to do that, to make sure you're telling them, do not change my sentences, do not change the writing, do not add. And like for me, because I have it clean up my grammar, but I will say, don't add M dashes, because again, I've never met an M dash I didn't love, but
I love M dashes. I use
and
them
I have
badly.
used them forever, but I don't want them adding it. I don't want them adding semicolons or colons, because I don't use that in my writing. I tell it not to touch the sentence structure or the syntax of a sentence unless, and if it's going to, I want to know what they did, because my writing, it has a very unique rhythm to it. And I don't want, if you're going into AI and asking it to clean stuff up or help you with something like that, it will not do that for you. It cannot replicate your voice. Like I was trying to get it to help me with a blurb, and it was like, let me do it in a Jamie Albright, a Jamie Albright voice. And so it did it. And I was like, that's not my voice.
That's not it.
Yeah, that you missed. And so it can't do that yet. And I don't know that it ever will. So be really aware of that, and just don't give over your uniqueness for convenience.
A lot of the grammar checkers, a lot of the grammar warnings that pop up, it takes away, it scrubs off the uniqueness. It makes it more bland. This makes me think of the podcast we did with grammar with Patty McGee, where we talked about how your words are your toolbox to create beautiful and unique things. And since we write fiction, we can break grammar rules and make things imperfect, and incomplete sentences are fine.
Yeah.
Especially in conversation. So, we don't have to be constrained like people who are writing a dissertation or something like that. Very formal writing. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we should take advantage of it. We should use that.
Last night at the rodeo, at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, at the end of the rodeo, they have a concert every night. And we saw Chris Stapleton last night, and he's country. It's mostly country music, but they have a lot of other artists too. But he is such a so many of his songs are so profound in the word choice and the way and it just reminded me how powerful words are and how lucky we are as writers, whether you write songs, whether you write poetry, whether you write prose, how lucky we are that we have that. Either we have the gift, or we have decided we want the gift and we have worked our butts off to get it. And that we get to use those words to impact people, like that our words touch people in an emotional way. That is just a gift. And we don't want to give that away to anybody, or anything. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's wild when you think about it, that what are words? They're black marks on a page, and they can move people to, cry, laugh. It's quite a gift when you think about it.
It is. Anyway, all that to say, that just a word of warning. If you want to try using AI to help you, just be sure you're just not giving over your uniqueness for that help.
Another thing that I put down, we talked about this a minute ago, curation. That's a way that you can show you're human, because basically there's going to be so much more content going forward than there ever has been. If you can curate something for your readers, maybe you give them a list of recommended books that are coming out, this next season, or these are classics in the genre you might want to go back and read. Something like that. It will help them sort through things, and then it will show that you are a tastemaker. I don't know if that's the right term, but
no, I think it is. And also, maybe not an expert, but you're a voice that can be trusted.
You can let people know, hey, I enjoyed these books, and if you like this same type of book, here's a whole bunch more like it. That's a good thing to do. I've seen a lot of people doing, if you liked only Murders in the Building, here's 5 books like Murders in the Building, which shows are limited, and you can't once you watch a series and it's over, you might want to continue that experience, and you can have, hey, here's 6 books that you might enjoy that are similar.
Oh yeah. Some of the biggest accounts on TikTok are, all they do is curate streaming shows. Like, here are 5 streaming shows or streaming thrillers that you maybe haven't watched that you should watch, or whatever. That is their entire platform. That is all they do. And they have thousands and thousands of followers. People are looking for that also, because we're looking for convenience. That is, we have enough going on. We don't want to have to sit down and labor over what we're going to watch
or read. Even if I just go to my Amazon page, there's so much on that page now. There's so many books.
Overwhelming.
And I don't want to click on each one and read the sample. And a lot of times I'll click on one, I'll think, oh, this sounds great. And then I'm disappointed. So having somebody sort through all that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Absolutely.
And then this last couple, get a degree or certification. Joanna Penn mentioned that's one reason among many that she's getting a master's degree. And I just thought that was interesting because, AIs are not going to be going back to college to get a degree. Training or certification does set you apart from people who won't do that.
We should also say this episode is dedicated to Joanna Penn. We've mentioned her no less than 35 times. I have been following along, though, with her master's journey. And I was like, that's exhausting. Like, I'm exhausted listening to that. And I admire her so much for that. But see, that evokes emotion. Like, that is the point. It evokes emotion. And that is how she is a person. She is evoking emotion for me at this point. Yeah.
And the thing I forgot to put down here that I thought about it the other day and I forgot to write it down is when you share, like you shared so much about your sister, that is something that's true and human. And it does evoke emotions in people. Like when you share the things in your life that are really deeply meaningful to you, then it does get a response from people because it's true. And then the last 2 are more about audio stuff. I didn't think about this as breaking it out into format, but if you podcast about your book, I've done this, you can share a story behind the book. You could do a podcast where you do an audio commentary, which I've done that with Murdered Archly Manor. I divvied it up and I gave a little intro to each chapter, or sometimes I combined it, like did 2 chapters at once and gave a little information about either research I'd done or a character that was coming up, or how I created the character. And then I used the audiobook narration because I own my audiobook narration. So I'm able to do this. If you've gone through ACX, I don't think you can do this with
probably not
their stuff. You could just do like an introduction. You could have an author's version, an author track, where you have your special version that people can just get from you that has your thoughts on it. And then the other thing would be if you narrate your audiobook, they're hearing your voice. I don't know that many authors will do that, but it would be a way that you could say, this is me narrating my book. If you want to hear me narrate it with the emphasis in the places that I want to put it, this is get this book from me.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I think those are all really great suggestions, and some of them I'm going to use.
And we would love to hear your suggestions and thoughts on this. If you have ideas of how you can show your human things you've done that could help other people connect with their readers, please let us know. You can send us a text. You can find us on Substack. Love to hear your thoughts.
I love that. Thank you guys for listening today. We appreciate it. We hope you're doing great out in the world being human. And while you're being human, be kind. And we'll see you next week.
All right. Well, we will have the podcast that we mentioned. And I think we should probably also link to Joanna's podcast because we've mentioned her like 50 times. So we'll put all that in the show notes. And those will be at wishidknownforwriters.com. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to that same link /support. If you've received value from the podcast and want to share back with us, we would appreciate it. And don't forget, our sponsor for this week is Reedsy. We'll see everybody next week.
That's right. Bye.
Welcome to the Wish I'd Known Then. I'm just having trouble today.
Little mini strokes.
Okay, here we go again. I'll put this at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
As a blooper. All right.